Hi, Novak. Welcome to the U.S. Open. I really just wanted to ask you about throwing out the first pitch at the Yankee game.
Novak Djokovic walked into the press room at the U.S. Open with his usual calm but slightly playful energy. And right away, the questions started rolling in. The first one wasn't even about tennis, it was about baseball. Someone asked Novak what it was like to throw out the first pitch at the Yankees-Red Sox game, one of the biggest rivalries in American sports. Novak smiled and leaned into the mic, clearly excited to share. He explained that it was his very first baseball experience ever, not just throwing a pitch, but even attending a baseball game. Imagine that, one of the greatest athletes in the world, stepping into a totally different sport for the first time. And it wasn't just any game, it was a sold-out Yankees versus Red Sox clash, with nearly 50,000 fans in the stands. He said the Yankees gave him the full VIP treatment. He got access to the locker room, got to meet the players, and he was especially struck by Aaron Judge. Novak admitted he was almost in shock at Judge's size. "He's humongous," Novak laughed, almost unable to believe what he was seeing. But more than just the size, he was impressed by how down-to-earth Judge was. They even exchanged gifts. Novak gave him a signed tennis racket, and Judge returned the favor with a baseball bat. Then came the big moment, the pitch. Novak explained that he had warmed up with one of the guys, but here's the twist. When he practiced, it was on flat ground. Once he got out onto the mound, he realized it wasn't flat, it was elevated, like a little hill. That completely threw him off. Suddenly the target felt farther, the throw felt different. And although he admitted the pitch wasn't exactly accurate, he was quick to add that it definitely wasn't the most embarrassing first pitch ever. He'd seen worse. The crowd had fun with it, he had fun with it, and Novak left Yankee Stadium with a new perspective. He said honestly, before that day, he didn't follow baseball. He didn't even really know how to feel about it. But after sitting in the stands, watching more than half the game, and having people around him explain the rules and strategies, he realized he was hooked. Novak Djokovic, a brand new baseball fan, that's something nobody expected to hear in a U.S. Open press conference. Then the tone shifted to tennis and one of the hottest topics right now, prize money. A reporter asked Novak what he and other players thought about the U.S. Open's recent increase in prize money and whether it was enough. Novak gave a very thoughtful answer. He started by saying it's definitely a step in the right direction. Any improvement is welcome, and he's glad the Grand Slams are recognizing the need to reward players better across the board. But he didn't stop there. Novak made it clear that while the increases are positive, they're still not enough. And he wanted to make one thing clear. He wasn't talking about himself. He knows people sometimes criticize him when he brings up money in tennis, assuming he's just looking for more for himself. But he explained that his concern is for the sport as a whole, especially for lower-ranked players. Most tennis players around the world, he pointed out, struggle to make a living from the sport. And that's a reality that isn't discussed enough. Novak emphasized that tennis is part of the global entertainment business, and Grand Slams are making more revenue than ever before. So, while it's nice to see the prize money going up, the scale of the increases doesn't really match the money coming in. Add inflation to the picture, and he argued, the gains players see aren't as impactful as they appear on paper. Still, Novak ended that part by saying any progress is welcome, but the push for real change isn't over. Finally, the conversation moved to his preparation for the tournament. A journalist pointed out that Novak hasn't played much tennis since Wimbledon. The question was, how does he balance rest with making sure he's match-ready for a tournament as intense as the U.S. Open? This is something Novak has talked about before. How in the past, he's gone deep into tournaments only to feel like he's running out of energy at the very end. Now, at this stage of his career, it's all about striking the perfect balance, resting enough to keep his body fresh while still playing enough matches to stay sharp. He admitted it's not an easy balance to get right, but his years of experience have taught him how to listen to his body better than ever. For Novak, the physical side is important, but so is the mental side, having that energy, that clarity, that freshness when he steps onto the biggest stages. And walking into the U.S. Open this year, he feels good about where he's at. What stood out in the press conference wasn't just Novak's answers, but his openness. You could see his joy in describing baseball like a kid who just discovered a new hobby. You could hear his passion when talking about fairness in tennis and how much he cares about the wider tennis community, not just himself. And you could sense his confidence when reflecting on how he's managing his preparation at this point in his career. From Yankee Stadium to Arthur Ashe Stadium, Novak Djokovic is once again in the spotlight, but this time we got to see him in a different light. Fan, advocate, and legend all in one.